time on Al Jazeera.
From local traders to international finance, it's commerce that makes the world go round. For global companies and developing markets, communication is the currency, and information is the most valuable commodity. Counting the cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
The army has to prove they have no intentions of hijacking power and of keeping any remnants of the old regime.
From people making the news.
The earthquake happened over a year ago. Now you want to come back and help your fellow Haitians?
To those it affects.
If Washington doesn't begin to help stabilize the government, it will create a backlash.
Behind the headlines.
Neither the United States nor China can hurt the other without hurting itself.
Is the inside story at this time on Al Jazeera. This is Al Jazeera.
Welcome to the News Hour, live from Doha. I'm Sami Zaidan from Al Jazeera News Centers here and in Washington, D.C. These are the main stories. Assault on rebel-held Ras Lanuf. Libyan warplanes launched new airstrikes on the strategic oil town. A battle rages for the center of AlJazeera. Both sides claim gains after fierce fighting kills at least 40 people.
I'm Jane Dutton in Washington with the top story from the Americas, debating but not committing. Barack Obama's top advisors discuss how to respond to the unrest in Libya.
Also ahead, fresh turmoil in Egypt's Tahrir or Liberation Square as armed men attack pro-democracy protesters.
Main gear touchdown.
And a veteran of space travel makes its final landing before retirement. Well, dozens of people have been killed and 2 oil installations are now in flames after the latest battles between Libyan rebels and forces loyal to Muammar al-Gaddafi. Well, the Libyan leader has also launched a diplomatic mission, sending envoys to meetings in Europe and Egypt. But the bloodshed goes on. Gaddafi's forces have been attacking rebel positions with tanks, rockets and airstrikes. A battle's been raging in AlJazeera, that's the strategically important town near the capital, Tripoli. Well, a doctor there says at least 40 people have been killed. State television showed these pictures saying government forces had forced anti-Gaddafi fighters out of the city centre. Well, that's a claim the rebels are denying. And further east, rebel fighters say they've advanced into the strategically important town of Bin Jawad, but faced airstrikes and heavy bombardment from tanks. And an airstrike on Wednesday hit a fuel storage facility in the port of Sidra near Ras Lanuf. Al Jazeera's Jackie Rowland was there.
The attack comes from the sky. Pro-Gaddafi forces unleash a savage counter-offensive against the town of Ras Lanuf. Rebel fighters on the ground are sitting targets. They're vulnerable and they know it. Gaddafi's bombers have hit an oil storage depot about 10 kilometers to the west. Even from Ras Lanuf, the damage is tangible. We want to take a closer look, so we hitch a ride on the back of a pickup truck. We're not the only ones racing west. Rebel fighters are moving up to the front line. And on the roadside, a reminder of the grim tally of dead and injured. Medics prepare to take the wounded back to Ras Lanuf.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
The columns of smoke loom ominously on the horizon. We move closer.
Well, it does appear to be some kind of an oil installation.
And as we approach it, we can see that the bombers have hit it in 3 different points. And this closest point here, we can actually see the flames. About 500 meters away as well, we can hear the rebels are firing mortars up into the air where the Gaddafi bombers are still circling overhead. They drop another bomb inside the fence of the oil storage depot. Gaddafi's forces are clearly targeting this facility. The rebels fire multiple rocket launchers. Their target, not the warplanes, but rather a small group of pro-Gaddafi troops on the ground. Those troops are firing mortars from beneath the oil depot. They appear to be outflanked by the rebels. And all the time, the dense smoke rises, turning the afternoon into a premature night. We take shelter in a ditch in the desert. Unbeknown to us, the rebels have moved more rocket launchers to a sandbank behind us. The pro-Gaddafi troops have spotted them. They send their mortars thundering in.
Guys, we have to go. We have to get out of here.
The mortar and rocket fire stops for a moment, our chance to escape. We have been 1 kilometre from the front line, and what we have seen has changed our perception of this rebel force. They've demonstrated more know-how than we had given them credit for, and their courage and determination are undeniable. Jackie Rowland, Al Jazeera, outside Ras Lanuf in eastern Libya.
Well, Khairi Fawzi is a member of the opposition forces who is currently on the outskirts of Ras Lanuf. He told us what's going on there.
Right now I'm standing 11 kilometers past Ras Lanuf, near the oil port of Sidra. It's like a massacre here. We have nothing to resist them. We need help. We're just civilians. Even the rebel army didn't join the fight. Gaddafi bombed us from the air and blew up the oil fields. The Gaddafi fighters bombed the oil field in Sidra. There were 4 killed today and 41 injured, and there are people still missing, especially near the front lines, near the frontier with Bin Jawad. Right now, things are calm. We're collecting the dead and wounded. We're collecting body parts. We found the dead torn apart, and the injuries to those that survived are very critical. There are still some missing near the front lines. We're okay from the east. We have open lines of support and communication. We have food and supplies reaching us. The only thing is they bombed the water plant near Ras Lanuf, and that entire residential area hasn't had any water since yesterday. The only military supplies reaching us are light weapons, rifles, light mortars. We're very much outgunned. They have tanks, rocket launchers, but we have a stronger weapon, and that is our faith. The only thing holding us back from reaching Ibn Jawad is that Gaddafi's militias are holding some families as human shields. We have the military capability to attack Ibn Jawad, but these families are being held as hostages, and we don't want to risk their lives.
Well, Gaddafi's forces have become more aggressive in the last few days. Tony Bertley reports from AlJazeera, which is still under